questions at the end, because you'll forget it, I'll forget it. You know how that whole thing goes. And, you know, the other thing is, if you feel like, well, Dan didn't really cover everything he planned on covering, all my training's free. So anytime you want to get back to me and say, Dan, I want to get on what you're doing, I want to be a locator like Victor here, who's just made his, oh, let's see here. We got Victor up there. There he is. Look at that. So all you have to do is go back to the main website, and there's Victor holding up his check for having made something happen out there. We're going to do a whole lot more, so thank you, Victor, very much. Very cool. So what we have is a number of things going on here today. Let me see if I can get back to our PowerPoint. There we go. So we've got the main Santa Barbara REIA website, short version of it to get you there a little bit quicker. Meetings, if you're wondering when the next meeting is and what's going on, or you want to go look at the videos for past meetings, that's where you go. You go to meetings, there'll be a date, you click on the date to see the information that's on the web page, or you click the video to go watch the YouTube videos. The nice thing about the videos is they last for a couple of years until somebody like Ben, who's going to be here speaking eventually, comes back and says, hey Dan, that's like, I was doing that 2 years ago, I'm not doing that anymore. I want to come back and do this all over again. And we just update it, put it back up on YouTube, and it drives more business back to your website. So if you're, you know, if you have a business that you'd like to promote, you can get a vendor table. If you have a desire to get up here and speak, you can do that 30 minutes or 90 minutes. Or if you just want to kind of network around and pass out cards, whatever, please, that's what we're here for. YouTube, as I mentioned, everything goes up on YouTube. We had a great meeting here last month with Linda Play August and had lots of people here. It was a wonderful thing. And we did manage to talk Eric Gooden into interviewing the different vendors and whatnot, so he did a really good job on that. Meetup, we have had a number of people using Meetup to RSVP for the meetings. The nice thing about Meetup is that it helps build your networking. Now, a lot of people are just going directly back to the Santa Barbara REIA website to RSVP and pay and get in here, and you can do that. That's not a problem. But if you do, I suggest you still go back to meetup.com so that you can build up that networking, because people will see you on there and go, Lori, we're having a wine and cheese thing, and we really want you to be here for our yoga class. Would you do that? Because we saw you on the Santa Barbara REIA site. So, you know, and there's tons of that stuff going on out there, which is why, and this is free, why you want to be on there. Okay? So we're going to just give you kind of a little idea of what we're going to do here today. We've got through the registration process, we got some food and wine still back there. Looks like the food's gone, but the wine is still going strong. We've had speakers come here and have a little bit too much wine after they jumped off the plane with jet lag and went, uh-oh, I should have had some food. I think Keith remembers that one. It wasn't Keith. No, it wasn't Keith. We were just laughing because he came to me and said, "Dad, I think the speaker's drunk." So we had good fun. I didn't realize till later on Michael came to me, my son, who's doing the videos. Yay, Michael! Yay, Michael! He said, "Hey, Dad, I found out the speaker we had. Well, his last career before he was here doing the real estate stuff, he was a stand-up comic. So you can imagine how that means." So, got to be a little bit careful about that. So we've got some people here. Linda Play August is, I think, in Texas? Texas, okay. So we have got Suzanne and we've got Zach back here that will come up here and speak eventually if they want to, or just meet them back there and kind of go over what Linda Play August is doing. Are you going to speak? Will you?
Yeah,
a little bit? Okay, I'll get you up here just a bit. Okay, and Keith and Roberta are here. Okay. And is there anybody here that has their own business that might like to come up here and talk a little bit about what they're doing and kind of pitch their business or their deals or whatever? If you do, let me know. We'll get you up here for a little bit. Now I'm going to go through and cover some things on NHBE, which is National Home Buyers, my main business. Information on that. NHBIG, which is our go-to meeting where we do all the free training on Saturdays from 11 to 12. Okay. And then we're going to talk a little about the no-doc loans, the 43%, and we have Simon, right? Simon, bless your heart for being here today. He's been here before, but he just happens to be a good lender, and I had no clue. but we talked a little bit, so I'm going to kind of pick his head as we go through that portion of it. Because it's brutal, things have changed. Okay. And then we're going to talk a little bit about rental property management online programs to make life a little easier and why we're going that direction. And then we've got Ben Walls. Hey, Ben is here. And where are you from?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay, good. Good. So you'll be up at 2:30 to 4, and you'll be covering a number of things that may not necessarily be those bullet points, but you know, we go wherever people want to go and make everybody happy. So we'll cover what's needed. Okay. And then we're downstairs to the bar for food, drinks, and fun times. Okay. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. Any questions so far? Nope. Okay. So let's do this. Let's have Suzanne. Do you want to come up, Suzanne, and just talk a little bit about Linda Pliagas and what she's up to, what's going on? And I'm not quite sure if Zach wants to do anything, but you just let me know how you want to handle it. Okay?
Hi guys.
Hello.
Great to be here. This is my second time working with Dan and Roberta and Kate, one of our clients. And if you don't already know, Realty 411 is a resource for investors. We publish a magazine. This is our newest, 116 pages, chock full of all kinds of information, tips, what's going on in different markets in the country, and there's plenty of them over there for free to grab it. In addition to the magazines, we do a newspaper. They kind of piggyback. They're quarterly, so we do the magazine, which just came out. We'll have the Cash Flow Express, our newspaper, coming out in November, most likely. We also do a monthly digital online. The magazines and the newspapers can be found online at many sites, at least 10 different sites. So if you want to just Google Realty 411, you'll find all these publications. All the back issues are free. If you want a subscription, I think it's $20 a year, and the first issue is free. In addition to the magazines and the newspapers, we also do a weekly radio show, which is archived, and you have access to that at our website, realty411guide.com. We also do expos for investors. They're free to attend all over the country. We've been very busy this year. We did one here in Santa Barbara in July. Today, Linda Pliagas, the publisher, she's a publisher, a journalist, graphic artist, and an investor. She's in Texas at one of our events. So between now and December 6th, we've got a show in Las Vegas in November. Yes?
That one in Vegas, how many days? Is that a 2 days?
That's a 2-day.
Okay.
That is a 2-day. It's October 4th and 5th.
And I think there's going to be a tour there too, taking
There
people
is
out.
going to be a bus tour, the ultimate bus tour of Vegas properties, held by John Gifford, one of our clients. It's called First 100 Homes. So the bus tour will be on Sunday. But there will also be education at all of our events. We have speakers and we have vendors and chock full of information.
And that's next weekend.
October 4th and 5th, is that next weekend or the weekend after?
Weekend
We're
after?
already on the 28th or 7th. So
Okay.
30 days, half September.
Gotcha.
I think it's 2 weeks.
Okay.
It is next weekend.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it is.
Okay, so
It's
we've
just
been running like
flying.
crazy. We just got back from a
like life.
show,
Yeah.
put on by Equity Trust. We're their media sponsor, their marketing sponsor. They did a 5-day event in Orlando about how to use your IRA to invest in real estate. And not just that you can, but really dig into how you can do it. And they had about 40 vendors, about 400, 500 guests. With all kinds of options, everything from rehab to wholesaling to notes to, I don't want to give them any credit. They had somebody there that was promoting fracking, so, yeah. But anyway, so October 4th and 5th will be in Vegas. After that, we're going to New York. We'll be in Long Island, October 25th. That's a 1-day. In fact, I think they're all going to be 1 day from now on, unless we can get a really great bus tour or something to come up business on Sunday. In November, we're going to be back down in LA. Yay, November 15th at the Orange, what is it called? The Olympic Connection. It's a beautiful hall. And we're going to be collecting canned goods and gently used clothing for the LA mission. So it's a charity event. And finally, December 6th, we're going to be up in the San Francisco area. That'll be a Toys for Tots event. But again, always with speakers and vendors, tons of information. If you can make it, you're welcome to come. It's free to attend. If you can't make it, maybe you know some people in that area that would be interested, so pass it along. So that's pretty much what we do. In addition, for our clients, we offer advertising, email blast, that kind of thing. Any questions? No? Okay.
Thank you very much,
Sure.
Savannah. It's wonderful to have that information. Appreciate that. And so you can see realty411guide.com. Check that out. Look at the events. And, you know, really the big reason for going to these events is there's like 200-300 people. The one in Vegas might have 400 people.
That's wishful thinking.
Vegas, really?
I think the Vegas is going to be about 200.
Smaller? Okay.
Yeah. Our last show in San Jose was about 3. That was a 2-day show. Last show in LA was in May, and that was about 300.
300?
So it really depends on the area.
Okay.
Vegas, the REIA group that's working with us told us they had 135 reservations. So, you know, but we'll see.
Good.
Hopefully 200.
Well, and the reason that you want to go to something big like that is the networking.
Networking.
Linda had one up in Pismo Beach at Mario's location for Central Coast REIA, and it was maybe 60 people, something like that. It wasn't a couple hundred. And I met a private lender there that loaned me $150,000 worth of very needed money to bury some debt, and said, "Well, Dan, we've got the minimum is $100,000. I can loan you up to $1 million." And I said, "Well, I'd love to have $1 million, but I don't want to make the payments on that, and I'm not ready for that. So $150,000 would be great." So that's the reason that you want to go to these, is for the networking, to meet these people, to do different things. Okay.
Deals are made all the time. If not right at the show, then that handshake, the business card, and the idea is planted. And a lot of people will tell us, you know, the same thing.
Yeah.
That they found the money, they found the property, they found the venue that they hadn't known about, that they might want to try. So.
Linda knows how difficult it is to get me out of town. It's kind of like I spent my whole life trying to get out of South Los Angeles and be living in a nice place, and now that I'm here, it's like, I don't want to go, you know? So I am going to go to the Vegas thing next weekend, but that's the reason to go. All the networking, everything that can come out of that. So when you get a chance, go out and see those things and do it. And, you know, make something happen with it. It really is what you put out. You got to talk, you got to network, you got to ask questions, you got to tell people what you have to offer, and make something happen. So now we've got Keith Foley and Roberta Eastman from REI Wealth Academy, and I'm going to guess that Roberta's goes out. Okay.
I think it's his
So,
turn
thank you,
though,
Roberta.
Dan, isn't it his turn?
I think
But anyway.
it is.
Hey everybody, I'm Roberta Eastman. A lot of you know me because I'm from here. And I'm a 3-time best-selling author. My business partner, Keith Foley. And we are the founders of REI Wealth Academy. And so we have 2 sides of our business. We have our coaching side for our students, where we are teaching them how to do what we do, which is recently some killer lease options. So right here in our own market, we also own properties in Ohio. So lease options where you're helping everybody, and that's what it's all about, those win-wins. So if you have the opportunity to go ahead and lease option to somebody who doesn't have the ability to go to the bank or can't go to the bank, and then help the seller on the other hand who doesn't want their home, doesn't need it, or can't afford it anymore, then you can put them together. And you can get money up front, money in the middle, and then money at the end, as long as you have that equity spread. So that's what we teach our students to do. And then we do deals ourselves. So we currently have one coming up on a free and clear home, and we've gotten the offer accepted. And so we will do a subordination on that. We'll put the homeowner in second, the investor in front, and the investor will be between anywhere between $50,000 and $161,000, depending on how we structure the deal with the homeowner. And then the investor will get paid all the way through, up front, in the middle, and at the end. So they're not having to wait for their profit. So that's how we help our investors. And then, of course, the sellers and buyers are the ones who just either can't afford the home or don't want it or don't need it. We just did a great lease option with somebody who was just relocated. They just had to relocate, so we simply went in and took over their mortgage. So we help the student by learning how to do it, because our mission in the business is really to teach the parents or the adults in our country, so that they can then extend that out to the children or the young adults of our country to build the financial independence and wealth, so that they're not 40 and 50 looking at their watch and not being able to retire. So that's the mission of the business.
Excellent. One question.
Mhm.
You've done rehabs in the past,
I have.
investing in that.
We have done
And not
rehabs.
like you probably never do another one,
No.
but give us a little bit of a feeling of what it's like to do the lease option or lease purchase compared to doing rehabs.
Okay, so in the lease option, you can go in and, it doesn't really matter how you get the home. We had one on short sale that we got on Friday at 2 o'clock. We got another one because the gentleman wanted to relocate and he just didn't want his payment anymore. So it doesn't really matter how you get the house, but on the other hand, you're looking at that buyer and you're saying, Mr. Buyer, I'm gonna give you X amount of time to get yourself back on your feet, or maybe it's not anything to do with their credit. Maybe they just need, they've only been in the area a year. Right? A bank won't give somebody a loan unless they've been 2 years with employment. Right? So it doesn't necessarily mean they have bad credit or anything like that, but you're giving them the time that they need to get themselves back on their feet for whatever reason, and they're gonna give you up front a fee. And it's, you can put it towards the purchase price. In our 2 deals, we did not. And then they're paying a rent throughout, the term. And again, you can put that towards the purchase price. Be very careful of that with the Frank Dodd Act. But in our case, we did not. So they gave us $15,000 up front. They're giving us $1,500 a month. And then we structured it so that there's a $67,000 equity spread at the end.
So would you rather do that than
All day
rehab?
long.
All day long.
Because here's how it worked. Friday, we closed at 2, and by Monday at 2, we had 2 tenant buyers. One for the house I was advertising, and one I didn't even have the keys yet. Handed them the inspection report and said, here's all the repairs that need to be done by the end of your term. Are you good? And they said, yeah, we're good. Great. See ya. Go to the lawyer, they sign all the papers, and off they go. So I would do that all day long, because you get the house, you hand it over to them, they get to do what they want with it. They are not gonna spend as much on repairs as we would. Right, a $25,000 rehab for us may be a $10,000 rehab for them, because they're gonna take the time to do it. They're gonna do, what they want. They may or may not put granite in. If there's a kitchen they don't have to pull out, they're not going to. They're gonna save it. So it costs them less, they've got the time to do it, and it's, at their pace, and it's how they want it. So you don't have to do the repairs.
So life got a little easier for you.
Life got much easier.
Good.
Yeah, so we'll do the same thing, and again, it doesn't matter, this new house we're talking about, we're going in, sellers willing to carry, it's a free and clear house. We'll either make payments or we'll make a very deep discounted cash offer, either one. But in either case, you're still helping that buyer come in and say, here you go, here's the repairs, fix it the way you want, you've got this amount of time to do it, and then at the end, you're gonna cash out. And if it happens to be for credit purposes, then help the people. You don't have to be the one getting their credit put together, but give them the resources to get that credit, because you want them to cash you out, at the end. So,
Good.
right?
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Your investors, are you looking for people in the new house?
Oh, well, the investors, yeah, for the new house, we're gonna, like I said, if we do a cash offer, the investors on the other 2, they actually got a very large down. And as soon as they gave the money, as soon as we found that tenant buyer, they are cash flowing all the way across the term for the 2.5 years, and then they've got part of the equity spread as we do at the end. So we'll do the same thing with this new house. We'll either bring in an investor for the cash offer, or we'll bring in an investor for 50 grand, so you make sure you've got everything covered, and then they'll cash flow at the beginning. When somebody gives me a lease option fee, they'll cash flow in the middle from the difference between what I pay and the tenant buyer pays, and then we'll all have an equity spread at the end. So that's what we're up to.
Plus during that time, you've got a tenant buyer who's gonna treat the house way better than somebody that just wants to trash it and keep out of town.
I couldn't believe, right? So here I take my students, I'm thinking, okay, great. So we do a house on a Tuesday. On Thursday night is our local meeting, right? Because we run the local Lumpoker Club. Keith and I do. So Thursday night, we do a field trip at our REI club meeting. So I go to the house. This dude has this house all cleared out already. He's got all the grass and all the weeds pulled. And I pull up and I'm like, I'm supposed to be showing my students an ugly house, not a pretty house. I mean, this guy was on it 2 days, and he had done so much work that it looked like a pretty house. And I'm thinking, all right, well, guys, you know.
We literally couldn't clean the house out. His wife was seeing all this stuff that she wanted to keep. She goes, leave it, we'll take all of it. I'm like, we don't have to clean the house out?
That's
We
great.
had less than half a trailer and the house was full of stuff.
That's
A lot of it was good stuff. She says, no, I want it, brand new stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, because, you know, you can take it where it is and how is it and all that good stuff. But no, they were good with going into the house and cleaning it out. The other one that we did clean up, we put $550 into that house. And then it was done. It was a done deal. So,
I had a
oh,
question.
yes,
When the new buyer is paying rent,
yes,
is any of that funding going to the bank?
no.
So
None
where-
of that
where
is going.
What is the bank saying at this point?
There is no bank. I'm the bank.
Oh,
We're the
you're
bank. Yeah.
Oh, so investors have already taken it over? I got
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
we're the bank.
I
So,
got
but in the one that I'm paying, the guy's mortgage,
you. Right.
I'm paying that, and then the
I got
tenant buyer's paying me. So we're cash flowing.
the original one she was talking about, we turned it from a foreclosure into a short sale. And then when the investors and us bought the short sale
From a foreclosure?
from a foreclosure.
Yeah, it was about to be
The bank-
foreclosed.
The bank allowed that, huh? Because usually
Yes.
once it goes into foreclosure, it's really tough to turn it around.
Oh, we
If you-
stop them all the
If you
time,
can get
yeah.
it within 2 or 3 weeks of the actual
Oh,
sale
the
date.
actual
you
deal?
can get it.
Yeah, we need about 10 days, and we can usually stop it from foreclosure.
Sure.
But yeah, so there's no bank. We are the bank,
Right.
and so we're good with that.
Okay.
Because none of that money is going towards their purchase price.
Sure.
You could do that, we just didn't.
Got it.
And come to REIA meetings, because we met our biggest investor at this REIA meeting for that deal.
For that particular deal,
That deal.
yes,
Yay.
yeah, so,
So you have varied investors for each deal, it depends on the deal?
depends on the deal. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's not any, right? The guy I took over the mortgage, there is no investor, it's just us. So we made all that upfront 15 grand. We made the 1,500, and we'll make the spread at the end, because I just took over the guy's mortgage.
And they weren't in the real?
No,
No.
no.
It was
And
working
we
out.
didn't have to, we
That was a
didn't,
pretty nice deal.
it's a very nice deal, yeah. And you know what, we didn't have to pay the owner anything. There was no, they didn't want any down payment. We took it for what they owed,
They just want it out.
and then we'll buy it for the loan balance.
They will relocate, right?
At time, yep,
That's coming.
yeah. They just wanted to go away and have somebody take over their payment, and, you know, in my case, I already have the grand deed, so if I want to execute the buy, I can do that too.
And how did you find that situation, that one?
My mouth, I don't shut up.
Why do you think?
Yeah, well, yeah, why am I in
This is
front,
number two,
right? I tell everybody what we do.
Right.
Tell everybody what you do. That's how I did it. It was a 20-minute conversation, and we had an appointment to go to his house the next day.
Nice.
So, hopefully that gives you some tips,
That's it?
right?
Thank you.
Good.
Very much. Don't ask, don't get. So you just gotta keep, you know, they say the highest paying job is out there flapping your jaws, whatever you're doing. So, get a chance, get out there and do it, do it. Okay, so we've got, I'm up here, 2:30, 1:45 and 2:30. Okay, so we're at about 2 o'clock right now. So let's talk a little bit about some of this stuff I've got here. National Home Buyers, that's the main website. And basically with National Home Buyers, what I'm doing is I am joint venturing with people to do turnkey rent-ready properties. So we'll either have tenants in there already and people will buy into them, or the place is all fixed up and we'll get tenants in there. People will come in and, you know, kind of buy into it. And we're talking 20,000, 25,000, somewhere in that area. 30, it's pretty hard to get a $20,000 home as time moves on. But we're not doing it in California because there aren't any, my guess. If there were, you probably wouldn't want to live there, right? Maybe. Okay, so in any case, that's the national home buyer side, and we, have these properties that we're looking for all over the U.S. And Ben is here, and John is here. What was the name again?
JT.
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 JT. Okay, JT. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
So JT is here, and between the two of them, there's lots of properties outside of California that they have to offer and get us access to. So that's going to be really good when they get up here and start talking about that. And Ben does. On the National Home Buyers website, I do have a video from the last meeting we had here last month. So I threw that up there for people. I go, well, can you get in a little bit more detail about what you do? Well, it's on the video. It's also on the website on the investor page. So for those people that like to read, that's there. For those people that like to watch and listen, that's there. And basically kind of showing you a little bit about how the business goes. And another website that I've got, which really lends more toward the training side of all this, is NHBIG, National Home Buyers Investors Group. Okay, so here we're throwing properties on there that basically are for sale. They probably have tenants in there. That turnkey and NHBIG is where we take our students, you might say, our locators, and train them how to do this, with or without tenants. Okay? So we've got a number of properties we have there, and if you have a property that you want to put up on the website and have us help you with it, we can do something like that too. So how do you get from there to here? The meetings on the website, there's a link there someplace, and also on National Home Buyers has a website, or a link. But basically, it's going to take you back to our Saturday meetings, which are go-to meetings. And what happens there is you just jump on your computer, and from about 11 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific Standard Time until 12, we're going through just kind of training people on how to do this business and what to do, and teach them how to locate. Now, when I say locate, I don't mean just houses. They can locate private lenders, they can locate cash buyers, they can locate houses, properties, and they can even locate locators. Because as Victor knows, as you build this thing up, you start expanding the people that you work with in your own team and your own business. When you get to the point where you have your own website, you're doing all your own advertising, and everything is kind of your business, that's about the time that we kind of have a party of the ways, because you've got the training you need. You say, thank you, Dan, see you later. And if you're really not doing any business with me, but you're just coming there for lots of free leads and kind of taking but not giving, then I just kind of cut your account out and I say goodbye. So, I don't want to say goodbye forever, because even when you have your own business, just like with Ben, we can do deals, we can, do things back and forth, so we still want to do business with you. But this is really a way of training you to get to the point where you have your own business and you don't need us, but we both make money together as we're going through that process. Some people may say, hey, I'll do this forever because I got a full-time job I love and I just want to do this part-time. And, on the low end, when we're doing joint ventures, it's a $500 referral fee for the first 4 properties that we close on. After that, it's $1,000. The reason for that is I'm not spending so much time training you. You kind of got it? Not asking me the same questions again. And if we're not doing low-end properties and we're doing high-end contract assignments, then we're really looking at, low-end 100,000 down, high-end a couple 100,000 up, but we're really looking for 500,000 to maybe 1 or 2 million. Okay, and the nice thing about working in that area is, on the low end, you're going to have cash buyers that have money, 20,000, whatever, that can afford to buy the properties and get a good return on the money. But on the high end, you really don't need anybody's cash. Years back, before I left the university, I got a contract on a house that I flipped with a $10 earnest fee, and I made $50,000 just doing that flip. Okay, a lot of work. A lot of things happen. I won't get into all the details, but it can be done fairly easily, but it does take time. It's not like working on a house that you're rehabbing and you've got to kind of babysit that all the time. So if we're working on the high end, that's what we're going to be doing. We're not looking to rehab anything. We're not looking to fix anything. We're looking for homes that are basically trashed, because realtors can't sell a trashed house. The lenders will come in and say, I don't care if they got an 800 credit score, and they can qualify for this house, they're not gonna give a loan to a house that's trash, right? That's why most realtors come in and say, well, if you fix it up, spend a few $1,000s, we can list this house and get you going. But if you don't, then the the underwriters and the loan companies are gonna go, no, we're not gonna loan on that. Would you say, Simon?
Yeah, it just depends on what the problem is.
How bad it is. Okay, so when we're looking for things, we're looking for things that are really bad. So that we know the lenders aren't gonna take it, we know the realtors aren't gonna take it, and it kind of just leaves us, as the investors, to find a property like that, go back out, find another investor who's got cash that wants to go in and rehab that property, and we'll just assign that contract to them, one way or another. And when it goes to escrow and closes, we get paid and we're gone. So that's the kind of easy part of the high-end stuff. Okay? And we work with you on this, it's all free training. You know, I'm really looking for building long-term relationships. I don't want to charge people thousands of dollars, max out your credit card, and then go, well, you know, you got the training, if you want more, get your credit card back out. Well, you don't have money, okay, see you later. We're not doing that. I want long-term relationships at work. And, you know, because it's not easy. As you go through this process, we've got a number of, how many people in here working with me on the calls for the NHBIG training? We've got 3, 4 people here. As you know, it's a tough road. It takes a lot of work. And so the first thing I tell people is, if you're thinking about quitting your job and running out and do this, you're going to go broke really quick. You know, you need to hang on to your job, and any income you have is gold, especially if you've been there longer than 2 years, so you can get a loan if you plan on buying a house. But you want to keep that job, and preferably if your job is the kind of job where you can go into your employer and say, hey, you know, this has been great, but I've got this other thing going on, and I really want to cut back from 5 days to 4 days. And if your employer says, yeah, we can do that, then you can incrementally start adding days on that you're doing the investment business if it shows within a 6-month period it's constantly giving you money. Okay? A lot of employers will go, oh, you want 4 days? Why don't you take no days? Just fire you, give up. You know? So you got to be careful about who you're asking that to. So in the business of National Home Buyers Investors Group, what do we have? We're wholesaling properties, joint ventures on the low end, high end, contract assignment. What do we give? Probably the best thing that we can give is credibility, because it's very difficult to get out there and start talking to people about all the stuff you want to do with them if you've never done it before. You can't show deals you've done if you don't have investors that you can say, hey, call them up and talk to them. They've said it's okay with them if you talk to them. You know, it's very difficult to get people to work with you. So you've got to have some credibility. That's one of the things that we offer. Certainly thousands of leads. We pay for different companies, websites. Kent Collier is one of them that we get a lot of leads from. Cash buyer leads. And you know, the cash buyer leads are probably better than the property leads, because if a cash buyer comes in and says, yeah, I want to do business with you, I want to do one of those deals, and I give you a referral fee, that cash buyer is probably going to come back and say, I want to do another deal and another deal, and every time they do one, I just give you another referral fee. There's nothing else you need to do with that cash buyer. You just get another check in the mail. Where if it's a property and you get a referral and that property's gone, now you got to go look for another property. You got to keep looking for more properties, which is fine. A lot of people want to do both, and that's okay too. It's up to you, however you want to do it. So we've got, you know, business cards, software flyers, whatever. We help you get set up. We give you the tools. We've got this thing called Podio, which is really good for managing that business. It's by Citrix, that makes GoToMeeting, and they're not quite sure what they want to do with that program, but that's okay. We're probably using it as much as we can, because for $9 a month, I can have 5,000 locators out there and plug them into GoToMeeting, or not GoToMeeting, but Podio, and not have to pay a dime more because they're not under my domain name. Otherwise, it would be $9 per person. So I had a nice tech support person, and I asked the right questions, and went, okay, I can do that. So that's the NHBIG business, National Home Buyers. Now we're going to talk a little bit about no more no-doc loans. So anybody that's listening to videos or been into these meetings with us probably knows that we have been trying really hard to get out of a 10-1 loan right now, which is gonna, be over in about 4 years. And a lot of people, when those things switch, the amounts go up so much they end up losing their home, and that's why they got rid of no-doc loans, because they wanted to make sure that when it does convert and the rates do go up, they can still afford it, okay? So, beginning of 2014, they came up with a new rule that said basically, we're not gonna do any more of those no-doc loans. In fact, the loan I've got on my house right now is a no-doc loan. That's how we got it, okay? As I talked to lenders out there, some of them even said, well, you're at 5.75%, 5.75. That's really not that bad a loan. When it converts, don't worry about it. Just live with it. It's just gonna, you'll have a chance at that time to get the going rate, either lock in, keep it variable, refinance, whatever you want to do. It's not that big a deal. Well, that depends. Talked to other lenders that go, that's still pretty high for today's rates. Okay, so what happens with these no-doc loans? They want you to be at a 43% debt-to-income ratio. Okay, if you've got a job, and you've been working there for 2 years, and you've got nothing else going on in your life, and you got good credit, they're gonna go, okay, so, you're above 43%, you've been on the job for 2 years, got good credit, you're great. You got the loan. But if you're trying to do this real estate business, it's a little bit trickier, because in the real estate business, what we're typically trying to do as investors is we're trying to show as little income as possible, show as much debt as possible, so we can have as much back on our taxes at the end of the year as possible. But that's like exactly the opposite of what the lenders want to see. They want to see no debt, they want to see lots of income, they want to see you paying lots of taxes, they want to see you doing that for a couple of years. And, we've been kind of going through this. We had, I mentioned in the past, my credit was down to about 670, and then I paid off about $150,000 worth of debt, and my credit jumped up to 810. And I'm going, hey, we're on the way to doing this. We probably can show that income to debt ratio change now. And so I went back to Union Bank. Actually, I went to Golden One first, because they had something that during that 30-year period, you could do a recast one time on a fixed 30-year loan, fixed rate 30-year loan, which is kind of unusual. So I like that possibility. I went back to them and I said, well, you may have paid off the debt, but you showed $13,000 on your taxes as a loss in your business, and we figure you're at 62%. And I said, well, that's what you told me last time. Can't you look back in your records from 6 months ago? He said, well, I don't really have that information, and you couldn't have been at that 6 months ago. You must have been at 90%. And I said, well, you don't have the information. That's just your opinion. And it wasn't 90%. Thank you. Goodbye. I went back to Union Bank, and they ran a check on us and said, well, we see you as being 50%, not 62. So you can see immediately that this number here isn't a number like going to a stoplight in the street and everybody stops. That's it. You know what to do, that's it. This number is really subjective on who's looking at your information and how they want to spend the time or not. If they are getting paid by the hour, or they're getting paid salary, which is kind of like by the hour too, and they got a whole bunch of loans coming through their desk, and they got a lot of really easy ones that they can get out and make everybody happy and say, hey, look what I did today. How much time do they think, or do you think they're going to spend on something really complicated? Probably not too much, and they're going to come back and say, oh, it looks like 62 to me, or it looks like 50 to me. The current lender I have, I think he's down in Thousand Oaks right now, said, Dan, to me, and he was really digging. I mean, he was really digging. And I got a sense that he's probably getting paid on a commission. I don't really know where this is at yet, but he's working way harder than anybody else. So he's probably not salary, he's probably not hourly, probably his business, and he gets a commission, and he either gets it or he doesn't. And he's decided that, you know, I'm at 38% as far as he can see. Now, we still have to move it on to the underwriters and see what they say, and we will, we'll get there. And he said there's a little difference between going for a jumper loan as opposed to a conventional loan, which is, below 625. We're at 649, 650, so we could easily come back and say, here's $25,000, put us down in the conventional loan, and let's see what we can do with that. So the game's not over yet, and the truth is, we could wait, if all else fails, we could wait, but it would be kind of nice to be locked in for 30 years at 4.25%, because when we get truly out of this recession, it's going to be a long time, right, Simon, before we get back to 4.25?
Probably.
3.9? I mean, we're going to have the next big bad whatever happen. Wall Street, banks, whatever happened. We certainly want to take that from the top and blame it on all the investors to have everybody else go back to doing what they do and not burn the buildings, right? So in October, next month, we're going to have Patrick James here. He's actually the person that does tax strategies, and he's going to come in here and tell you how to pay nothing and do way more than I do to get way more back. I mean, we're getting $13,000 back on our taxes this year, and if I went for 2 years and just told my tax person, hey, we've got all these deductions, it's illegal for me to say I don't have this income, or I do or I don't or whatever. But it's not illegal to say, we got $10,000, $20,000 worth of write-offs, let's just not claim them. Government doesn't care, right? If I want to pay taxes, pay more taxes, they'll be like, sure, don't claim them. Give us your money. So we could go for a couple of years and not claim the debt, and we could qualify here, but if it's a couple of years at $13,000, now we're talking $26,000. Is it worth $26,000? Is that how much I would pay in commissions to get the loan in the first place? I don't know. Depends on where you're getting the loan, right? So these are the decisions you have to make when you're going through this process. And know that if you got a full-time job right now and you want to buy a house, been there for 2 years, don't jump out and start doing this business and quit your job if you're looking to get a loan. I figured after we refinance our house and a rental property we've got in Santa Barbara, we'll probably never go back and get another loan as long as I live, and I plan on living to be at least 130, or maybe 160. See what happens with technology, right? So what happens once we get into this business of dealing with these investments and whatnot, and we start looking at the gotcha factors that cost you a lot of money. In fact, this is where you can get a lot of write-offs. If you got a good property manager that will really rake you through the coals and steal you blind, you'll have some good write-offs. It's probably not the way you want it to be, but that's what you got to watch out for. Because there's a lot of property managers out there that they're not on the deed. They're getting paid a commission. What is their interest to make sure that you, the investor, are making money? There isn't any. They'd much rather go, hey, you know what? We got about $20,000 worth of bills on your property, and if you don't pay it, we're just going to take it and put a lien on your property, it's going to be ours. And we're going to treat the tenant like crap, because we want them to move out, because that's how we make money. When they move out, we get to go back in and rehab the place, fix it all up, and do all kinds of things. So that's a big problem. If you're on the deed and I'm on the deed, the only way I'm going to make money is if I actually have good rents come in and keep the expenses down. So that's my job. You get to go, hey, how many people in here really want to do this real estate stuff as a living? Okay. How many people in here really don't want to do it as a living and would just like to have, put their money out there and feel good about a good return on their money and just walk away and go, I really don't want to do this business? Okay. Okay.
Well, I have a wife who wants to do it though, so.
She wants to
So
do it too.
it's a great deal for him.
Okay. Well, you can only be good at what you're passionate about. So if you're really passionate about real estate, you could be good at it. If you're not passionate about real estate and you're passionate about something else, you probably want to invest in it but not really go do it. And it's a tough job. You're battling mortgage companies, you're battling the contractors, you're battling the property management people, you're battling the tenants. And the battle is, how can you work with them so that they're happy and you're happy and it all works? You know, a lot of people aren't battling you because it's personal. They just have things that come up in their life, and it's like, you know what? I'm going through a separation. I don't have the money. I'm just not going to pay your rent. In fact, I'm not going to pay your rent ever again until you kick me out of here. That happens. You have to deal with it. Simon, what would you say on the lending side of things as far as the difference between maybe a jumbo loan and a conventional loan? Is there really a difference in documentation?
No, I mean, well, in conventional, you can actually get away with 1 year tax return if you go into it's actually the conforming, high balance conforming, 6155. So if you have a solid 1 year, you could get away with that. Jumbo, they're gonna probably require 2 years. So,
Okay, one of the things that I found out recently is, and this was something that, you know, Simon just told me this evening, today, was that you can have 1 year and not 2 years, because if you have to have 2 years, guess what they do with the 2 years? They average the 2 years. So if I just said, well, I think I just won't claim anything this year, there goes 13,000. They're gonna go, well, that was this year, but we're still gonna look at last year, we're gonna average a 2, you still didn't make it to 43%, so why don't you go try that again next year? So thank you for letting us know that, you know, there is a way, maybe on a conventional, it's only a year, but if you're gonna go a jumbo and it's 2 years, you're gonna average in 2 years.
and conventional is a little more flexible with the conforming balance loans on the DCI also. You could probably go to 47 or 49%. 43 is, that's kind of a standard jumbo number.
Okay, so on a conventional, it might go as high as
49, you could.
49, that's a big
If
jump.
there's some compensating factors, yeah.
So, you know, if we went back to Union Bank and I was at 50, all they had to do was dig a little bit harder and say, Dan, pay out 25,000 and we'll get you here. But there's probably not somebody there that really cares because they got an easier loan to do. So would you say there's plenty of lenders out there that aren't salary, aren't?
Well, you know, there's a mix. I mean, we're a direct lender and we're a broker source. So like you said, when you're a little smaller and that's all you do is non-depository mortgage stuff, then you're a little more motivated to dig through and make deals happen. Yeah, it's more commission based, it's more sales based. And the bigger banks, you know, they have, you know, savings departments and checking. So it's just mortgage is just another thing they do out of a million different things they do. So it's not like you're not necessarily going to get the extra miles to like your buddy or something. And even then, it's got to go on an underwriter's desk, and it might sit there for 15 days before they decide to say, oh, yes or no. You know, I go through that when I have to broker. I hate brokering out. If you direct lend, sometimes you don't have a choice. Like, I'm going to do it right now in downtown Los Angeles. It's very strange. You know, all those buildings are converting to loft space. So only one portfolio lender, bank with the internet, will loan in this building, and so I have to use them. And it's like, it's been approved for, I don't know, 7 days, and it's just sitting on someone's desk, you know, and I can't. You know, whereas if it's in-house, I can literally call the underwriter and say, hey, what's going on, and they're going to push it through, and they're going to make it happen.
And the timing is really important because if you look at a 30-day period for a loan, you could go out there and ask 10 lenders, and they'll all pull your credit, and you really won't get deemed in a 30-day period. But once you get past that 30 days, and you keep doing that, your credit's going to keep going down, down, down every time you go out and ask another lender. Is it possible to get a loan? And they pull your credit and boom, down it goes. So we're trying to get through this in a 30-day period and then stop it. Okay. So we might have Simon back here to speak to us one of these days here soon. Sure. Thank you. So what did I do? I ran into some problems. We're getting close for me jumping off here at 2:30, so I'm not going to be able to finish everything that I've got up here. But remember, any questions that you have, I'm free when you want to jump on this thing at 12 o'clock, on Saturdays from 11 to 12. And know that, it's not just that 1 hour period. If you say, hey Dan, I'm going to seriously be working with you, how many times do you think that we talk per week, Victor? A lot. So we do the Saturday thing just to kind of get everybody in there so they understand what's going on and get people who can. But that doesn't mean I'm going to not talk to you during the week. I'm absolutely going to talk to you because we got deals to do. We want to make some money. So, you're going to come back and keep asking me more questions, and we're going to keep going through this. And that's why once we get past the fourth property and you've done your fifth closing, I jump from 500 to 1,000 on the low end. But if it's on the high end, it's all negotiable. You know, I say, well, what would you do it for? What percent? You tell me what percent. If it works for you and it works for me, then we're going to do it for that percent. You know? The high end is a lot different. There's a lot more money to be made. So, you know, I can't really do 500 or 1,000. It could be 25,000. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go. Okay. But one of the problems I had with the property management stuff is that people were saying, I can't fax, I can't email, I can't scan, you know, I can't get this application back to you. I mean, this is going on. I was spending more time with that than anything. So finally I said, well, you know, I've really got to find a program where it's all automated, it's all online. So I jumped on the internet, did a Google search, came up with a review company. You see this up here, reviews.com, property management. They had like 70 property management software programs, 8 leading products based on 110 property management features. And I looked at all those and, you know, really dug into it and finally went back and said, well, you know, I think I'll take the one at the top of the list, which was Buildium. And because it looked the best and, you know, it looked like it had everything I needed, plus it was like $1 per property, $40 a month. Some of these others were like $200 a month, $500 a month. This was like $40 a month. And then after that, every 10 properties is another $10. Okay? So this is what the website looks like. This is not my website. If you look at the URL, that's managebuilding.com. That's not my domain. I put my national home buyers in front of it. And it looks pretty simple. You know, it's just got a few properties on there and it's got a login. You notice it has management login, but it also has a resident login. So if you're a tenant, we got an account for you. If you're a contractor or whatever else, we got an account for you. We can work with you through this portal, this cloud online thing that I don't have to worry about having on somebody's computer. I can get to it any place, anywhere. Cell phones, tablets. But it looks pretty simple here, you know. Rentals, apply now, whatever. This is kind of what the application process looks like. It's free, and I just tell people, hey, it's free. We will show you the house if you fill out the application. You don't have to fax, you don't have to email, just fill it out, it's free. If you can't do that, we're not going to show you the house. My investor requires that you do that. Well, why? Because if I look at that and go, there's no way I would ever rent to that person, and we're not going to waste any time even showing it to them. Okay? And that's why it's free. Now, once they get past this process and they go see the house, if they still like it and they want it, then they have to go back and do a tenant screening, which is $11.95, and that does look at credit, that does look at criminal, that does look at evictions, it looks at all the things that you would expect it to for $11.95, which is really inexpensive. And why that's so important to me is I don't want to rent to tenants. I want to get tenants in there who eventually want to buy these properties, who are much more interested, like lease purchase, and are going to treat these places much better, and are going to be serious about buying them because they're the only people that would pay retail price for these. Investors will come in here and go, hey, you and Victor got this property, I want to buy it. Beat me up over the price, and if you don't, I'm going to kick you out of here because your job is to beat me up. You should. You're an investor. But if you're a tenant, you're going to pay close to retail price because we're going to help you get finance, owner finance, credit. We're going to do everything we can to get you in there, and then it's going to cut your payments in half. Instead of paying $800 a month, you may pay $400 a month. Even if you have bad credit, we'll work on that. Might take a year or two. These are designed for cash flow, so we don't really care. Now, I'm at 233. I'm going to stop. I do have more things to go through what this thing looks like and all the different features. You can see this thing is like better than Quicken. As far as accounting, I mean, this thing is massive on the inside. It looks simple on the outside. Okay? So if you're looking for a good online cloud type program, good. This guy's going to be here, Patrick James, next month. He's our tax guy, strategist. And then we're going to have in February, Mr. Land Trust. We really need that because when people died, we want to be able to easily move these properties from one place to another and not be stuck with probate and all that. Okay? So, that's it for me. I am out of here. And we will have, so we're going to take a quick little break. Why don't you guys grab some more wine, water, do whatever you need to do. Come back here in just a couple minutes.